Okay, so there is a specific cognitive glitch that I think is one of the most universally frustrating human experiences.
Oh, I think I know where you're going with this.
You're standing in your kitchen, you are holding an object, you know exactly what it does, you know exactly where it goes, you can feel the weight of it in your hand,
Yeah.
but the label, the actual name for it,
Gone. Completely gone.
it has just totally vacated the premises.
It's the tip of the tongue phenomenon, or less
It's-
logica, but yeah, for physical objects. It feels like a short circuit in your brain's retrieval system.
Right.
The semantic info is all there. You know, it's a tool for turning screws. But the phonological information, the actual sound of the word screwdriver, it's just not loading.
Exactly. It's a buffering error. And, you know, usually when that circuit breaks, we don't just stand there in silence.
You panic.
You panic. You reach for a verbal backup generator. You snap your fingers and say, hand me the thing.
You reach into the junk drawer of the English language.
That is the perfect metaphor, and it's the central one from our source material today. We are doing a deep dive into the word wardrobe, which is this fascinating guide to English usage. But we aren't looking at the high-end fashion today, not the tuxedos of the language, those big, fancy Latin words you use to impress someone.
No. Today is about the sweatpants.
Yeah.
Or, maybe more accurately, the utility belt.
Yes, the utility belt. The word wardrobe focuses on what they call lexical placeholders, the junk drawer words, and the argument they make is really compelling because I think we usually see these words as, like, a failure.
Right. Like you failed a memory test.
Exactly. If I use a placeholder, I feel like I've lost a battle with my own brain. But the source argues these are actually sophisticated linguistic tools. They're designed to save conversations from just crashing.
It's such a great premise. The core idea is that human communication prioritizes flow over precision.
Flow over precision. I like that.
Yeah. If you stop to, access the archival footage in your brain for the specific name of a bracket or a gasket, you would break the whole rhythm of the interaction. You'd lose your listener.
So you grab a placeholder, you keep the signal moving.
It's basically a verbal patch to keep things going.
So our mission today is to sort through this junk drawer. The word wardrobe highlights 3 specific heavy hitters that I think most of us use pretty interchangeably. But, and this is the key insight from the text, they argue these 3 words actually have really distinct functions, distinct histories, and even distinct vibes.
Okay.
We're talking about the doohickey, the thingamajig, and the whatnot.
It's a classic lineup. But when you really drill down into the etymology and the usage rules, they are surprisingly different animals. They occupy completely different shelves in that wardrobe.
Let's start with the one that I think has the most character.
The doohickey.
The doohickey.
A personal favorite. Just has a very specific texture to it.
It does, and the source makes a point to spell it out right away. D-O-O-H-I-C-K-E-Y. It looks kind of ridiculous on the page.
It does.
But beyond just being fun to say, the text argues that doohickey has a very specific vibe. It's not just a random word for thing.
Right. If you look at the linguistic profile, doohickey carries a heavy connotation of the mechanical.
Yes.
It feels technical.
Yeah.
You wouldn't look at a fluffy cat or a cloud and call it a doohickey.
No, absolutely not. A cat might be a thingy if you're being, I don't know, dismissive, but it's definitely not a doohickey.
Exactly. The word wardrobe traces its usage back to the early 20th century, and it points specifically toward naval and mechanical environments.
Sailors, mechanics.
Yeah, think about sailors or early auto mechanics. These are places full of thousands of tiny, highly specific metal parts.
That context makes so much sense. I'm picturing a mechanic working on a Model T Ford in, 1920? He's covered in grease, he's under the hood, the engine is loud, he needs a specific valve. He can't remember if it's the intake valve retention clip or the hydrostatic pressure release. He just points and yells, "Tighten that doohickey."
And in that moment, efficiency is everything. The source also notes that doohickey is almost always singular, and it implies functionality. It's a device. It does something.
It's a cog in a bigger machine.
Precisely.
The phonetics seem to play a role here, too. The source touches on the sound of the word doohickey. It has those heart stops, the K sound. It sounds clicky.
It sounds like metal hitting metal.
Yeah.
That's a concept called phonesthetics, where the sound of a word sort of mimics the feeling or nature of the object.
Yeah.
Doohickey sounds spiky and small. It sounds manufactured.
Right, compared to a word like blob, which sounds exactly like what it is, soft and amorphous. Doohickey has hard edges.
Totally.
The word wardrobe uses a really great analogy for this. They say a doohickey is like finding a spare button in your pocket. You don't know which shirt it came from, you don't know its exact specs, but you know it's a manufactured part. It's not trash, it's a spare part.
And that leads to the primary rule of usage they propose.
Mm-hmm.
You should generally be able to point at a doohickey.
It has a physical presence,
Yes.
to give the example. I think the problem is this little metal doohickey right here, it seems to be loose.
And notice the adjectives there, little and metal. You rarely hear about a giant wooden doohickey.
That's true.
It usually implies a small, intricate component that is part of a larger system.
So if I'm building IKEA furniture, which is, let's be honest, the modern equivalent of being a 1920s mechanic,
Yeah.
just with more frustration.
And smaller wrenches.
And smaller wrenches, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm holding that weird L-shaped tool.
That is the quintessential doohickey. It is a small, nameless tool with a very specific job.
Okay, so we have the mechanical, spiky, singular object sorted. That's the doohickey. But now we move to the second item in the drawer. And this one feels, I don't know, softer, broader.
Yeah.
We are talking about the Thingamajig.
The heavyweight champion of placeholders. This is where we leave the garage and enter, the rest of the house.
The word wardrobe places Thingamajig in a much larger family tree. It's part of the Thing dynasty. You've got Thingamabob, Thingy.
And Thingamajig. And historically, that Thing family has seniority. The source traces Thingamajig all the way back to the 1800s, so it predates doohickey.
Wow.
The root word thing is one of the oldest, most fundamental concepts in English. It basically just means an entity. It's the blankest slate we have.
So it casts a much wider net. If doohickey is a specialist, Thingamajig is a generalist.
Precisely. The analogy the source uses is a multi-purpose scarf,
Okay.
which it took me a second to process that, but I think I get it. A scarf can be a head covering. It can be for warmth. It can be a fashion accessory. It can be a belt if you're desperate. It adapts.
That's a really distinct shift from the spare button analogy. A button only does one thing. A scarf is adaptable.
Exactly. A thingamajig doesn't have to be mechanical. A kitchen utensil can be a thingamajig. A strange piece of plastic on your backpack. Even a piece of abstract art you don't really get.
So it's the go-to word for, I recognize this is an object, but I have no idea what its function is, or maybe the function doesn't matter right now.
Yeah, that's it.
There's also something interesting about the rhythm of the word itself. Thingamajig. It's almost musical. It bounces.
Linguistically, that's actually really fascinating. It's using what we call an infix. You know how prefixes come at the start and suffixes at the end?
Right.
An infix is inserted right into the middle of a word.
Yeah.
That ma sound thingamajig extends the word. We see it in thingamabob, too.
Okay, but is there a functional reason for that? I mean, why make a shortcut word longer? If the goal is efficiency, shouldn't we just say thing?
That is a great question. Some linguists argue that the extra syllables actually buy you cognitive processing time. Saying thing, AMA-jig, takes about a second and a half. And that gives your brain a little buffer to see if the real word might pop up.
It's a loading bar.
Essentially, yes. It signals to the listener, I am looking for a noun, please hold, I'm still talking. It holds the floor while you think.
That's genius. The example the source provides is, could you hand me that plastic thingamajig? I need it to pry the battery cover open.
See the difference there? In the doohickey example, the object was a specific part of a machine that was broken. Here, the object is just a tool.
Right.
The speaker needs to pry something open. They don't care if it's a screwdriver or a knife or a ruler. They just need the thing that does the job.
It emphasizes utility over identity. I don't care what it's called, I care that it pries.
Precisely. It's the ultimate pragmatic word. It solves the immediate problem without getting bogged down in semantics.
So doohickey is the mechanic's term. Thingamajig is the general tool, and both of these refer to a specific singular object you are usually looking at or holding.
Right, they're tangible. You can point at them.
But this third word, this is where the source material really blew my mind. I walked into this thinking I knew what not meant. I use it all the time.
Me too. We need eggs, milk, and whatnot.
Exactly. But the history here is a total curveball.
Oh, this is the best revelation in the text. It's a perfect example of what linguists call semantic drift.
So whatnot didn't start as a placeholder word at all. It wasn't a synonym for etc.
Not at all. Originally, a whatnot was a very specific, tangible object. It was a piece of furniture.
A piece of furniture, like a chair or something.
More like a shelving unit. Specifically in the Victorian era, a whatnot was an open stand with shelves. It was designed to hold curiosities, ornaments, knickknacks.
No way.
Yes. You'd have a whatnot in the corner of your parlor to display your seashells or your porcelain figurines, your travel souvenirs.
That is wild. So you would have literally said, go dust the whatnot.
Exactly. It was a noun, a concrete noun.
Yeah.
It was as specific as saying bookshelf or nightstand.
So how on earth do we get from a wooden shelf in a Victorian parlor to a word that means and everything else? That seems like a massive jump.
It's a fascinating logical leap, but if you look at how language works, it kind of makes sense. Think about what the furniture was for. It was a container for miscellaneous items.
It held a collection of things that didn't really have a specific home elsewhere.
Exactly. Okay, I see you're getting it. Over time, through a process called metonymy, where a thing is called by the name of something associating with it, the name of the container started to be applied to the contents.
So we stopped caring about the wooden shelf and started using the word to describe the assorted mix of stuff that sat on it.
That's it. It's like if we started using the word junk drawer to mean miscellaneous items, like I need to buy batteries, tape, and junk drawer.
That is exactly what happened. The furniture fell out of fashion. You don't see many Victorian whatnots anymore. But the concept, a collection of random items, that remained.
So whatnot evolved from a noun meaning shelf to a collective pronoun meaning and other similar things.
And the source compares whatnot to the accessory drawer in your bedroom.
Right. The place where you find receipts, loose change, a random key you can't identify, and safety pins all living together. Doohickey and Thingamajig are singular. Whatnot is collective.
It's the etc. of the physical world.
Yep. The example they give is perfect. The desk was covered in old receipts, loose change, paper clips, and whatnot.
It functions as a closer, doesn't it? It tells the listener, I have listed 3 things. You understand the category. I don't need to keep listing all the trash on my desk. You get the picture.
It bounds the category. It's highly efficient. It saves you from being boring.
Okay, so we've unpacked the trio. Let's try to synthesize this into a kind of user's manual based on the word wardrobe, because their main argument is that we really shouldn't mix these up.
No, they're different tools for different jobs. Keeping them distinct actually helps clarity. You're giving your listeners subtle cues about what you're looking for.
Okay, let's run a few scenarios. Scenario 1. You are fixing a leaky faucet. You are holding a small, threaded brass piece that connects the handle to the pipe. You don't know its name.
That is a doohickey. It's mechanical, it's a component, it's technical, it's small.
Yeah.
You need that specific part.
Okay, scenario 2. You are in the kitchen. You need to open a jar, but your hands are slippery. You point to a rubber grip pad on the counter.
That is a thingamajig. It's a standalone object, it's a tool, and its function, opening the jar, is the priority. You don't care if it's the official jar opener 3000, you just need the thingy.
Right. Okay, scenario 3. You are describing the mess in your car to a friend. You mentioned gym clothes, empty water bottles, parking stubs.
And whatnot. It's the collective mess. It wraps up the list. You wouldn't say gym clothes and doohickeys, because that implies you have car parts in your back seat.
No, that would be weird. Whatnot implies general clutter. You know, before reading this, I definitely felt a bit guilty about using these words. It feels like a failure of intelligence. Like, if I were smarter, I would know the word is camshaft or gasket.
I think everyone feels that way.
But the source frames this so differently. They call them linguistic gadgets.
And I think that's the most important takeaway for you, the listener. These words aren't failures. They are features.
How so?
Well, think about the cognitive load of a conversation. It's a collaborative act, right? We are trying to transfer an idea from my brain to yours. If I'm telling you a dramatic story about my car breaking down on the highway, the point of the story is the frustration or the danger or the cost.
The point is not the specific name of the engine part that failed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If I stop the story for 45 seconds to Google the name of the part, the momentum is dead. The tension is gone.
Right.
By using doohickey, you are effectively saying to the listener, insert technical part here, let's keep moving. You are prioritizing the narrative over the vocabulary. And that's actually a socially intelligent move.
It's respecting the listener's time. You're cutting the fat.
It is.
Yeah.
It relies on context. If you are pointing at an engine, I know doohickey means a part. We don't need the dictionary definition to understand the meaning.
However, the source does leave us with a warning. Don't let your vocabulary get lost in the junk drawer.
Right. Moderation in all things.
Yeah.
These words are the spare tire, not the steering wheel. If every noun in your sentence is thingamajig, you aren't communicating anymore.
You're just making noises.
You're just making noises.
It's a balance. Use the sweatpants when you're comfortable, but maybe put on the suit when you're in a boardroom.
Exactly. Don't ask your CEO to sign the paper thingy. That probably won't land well.
Good advice. Now, before we wrap up, I want to circle back to the evolution of whatnot. That shift from a physical object to an abstract concept is just, it's stuck in my head.
It's a really provocative idea. It shows how fluid language is.
It makes me wonder about the objects we use today, and this is the thought I want to leave everyone with. If a Victorian shelf can turn into the word for everything else, what objects from our world today will become abstract concepts in, say, 2124?
That is a fascinating question.
I mean, for example, the word desktop. It used to mean the top of a wooden table. Now, for most people, it means a screen interface. The physical wood is gone, but the word remains.
Or think about inbox. It used to be a physical wire tray on a desk where a secretary put letters. Now it's this digital concept of incoming demands. The wire tray is gone.
But the anxiety of the inbox remains.
Very much so.
So, will the junk drawer of the future be filled with words that describe the tech we hold in our hands right now? Will iPhone eventually just mean portal, or will Google just mean the answer long after the company is gone?
Language is constantly stripping the physical away from objects and turning them into ghosts. It's almost guaranteed that something you are holding right now will effectively disappear as an object, but its name will stay in the language as a ghost.
A haunting thought to end on. We'll let you mull that over next time you're looking for a thingamajig.
Maybe.
So go forth, communicate efficiently, and if you get stuck, don't be afraid to reach into the word wardrobe. Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive.
See you next time.